Hey everybody, Darcy Burke here from Burke Digital Factory, following up on a very recent video that I did about Google's new passage indexing. Last Friday, December 4th, I joined a hangout with Google's John Mueller and posed to him a question about a potential strategy that I brought up in my previous video about passage indexing and potentially taking a service page and instead of splitting out individual services across many pages, taking all those services, listing them on one single page, and then being able to consolidate link authority and value to that one URL and leveraging passage indexing so that it would understand and rank the different sections or services for their related queries. So I want you guys to take a look at the question that I posed to John, and here's his answer. Take a look.
If you've been doing SEO for a while now, if you've been focusing on your website for a bit, then probably you've already split those exceptionally long articles into shorter ones anyway, so that it's easier to focus on specific aspects of what people are searching for. And in those cases, there's nothing really that you need to do there. So that's something where I like to see it more as if you have really long pages on your site and you've never really bothered to kind of watch out for what users actually want and realize that, oh, users are looking for a part of the page, not the full page, then that's something where I assume passage ranking will help out a bit. But it's not the case that we'll just take any article on the web and say, oh, there's a good word on way down on the bottom of the page, therefore we will rank this page higher. It's not a general ranking improvement. It's more a better understanding of the content.
John, can I follow up on that? Yes. So I had a question that was very similar. Similar. You answered part of it in there, where you had said, if you're a good savvy SEO, you may have already taken a long page and split it out into multiple pages. So I guess what I'm wondering, so that is still the recommendation, I guess. And so I had an example of, let's say you have a business that offers, 4 or 5 services. It has previously, what I would have always taken that and done and created 5 separate pages, one for each service, so that Google would understand the topic of that page. But with passage indexing, I was wondering, perhaps does it make more sense to have one single page that lists all 5 services, potentially hoping that passage indexing or passage ranking, as you've said a couple times now, passage ranking understands each chunk. And the reason why I think that could be advantageous perhaps is consolidation of link authority and link building. So you have one URL now that has multiple links, and that page could be very authoritative. Do you think that strategy makes any sense, or would you still kind of go to one separate page for each service?
I don't know. So from my point of view, I would test it. I would see how it works. I don't think by design that's necessarily a bad way to do it. I also don't think it's necessarily kind of always going to be the right approach. Because when users are looking for something that's kind of on the bottom of the page and they land on the top of the page, then maybe they'll be lost and your conversions will suffer a bit. I don't know. But I would definitely try it out and see what happens. I could imagine that maybe you find a balance that works well and is kind of positive under the line for you.
So theoretically, that's how passage ranking or passage indexing could work. Where now, previously they had this one page with 10 different services, it'd be hard to understand the topics of all of them. But now passage ranking might better understand, well, this is about service A, this one's about service B, and then rank those sections or passages appropriately for queries. So this theoretically could work. Could it be better? Yeah, I guess that's to be tested.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of tricky because we could still understand that part of the page is appropriate for that query, but would there perhaps be a factor saying, well, the other parts are kind of contrary to that part of the page is understanding. Like if you have completely independent services, then it might look like, oh, you're offering consulting and you're selling products. And if someone is trying to buy a product, then it's like, well, how do we weigh these?
Yeah, that totally makes sense. If it's way off, yeah, that probably. But like maybe an electrician that offers, outdoor lighting, interior lighting, all these different services. They're all electrical services. Yeah, okay, that's cool. I might give it a shot.
I would try it out. I mean, all of these new things, I think are just always interesting also to see how they kind of react to something like that, where you kind of have an understanding of what you would expect, and you can see if you would see changes like that.
Wonderful. I'll wait for you to tell us when it goes live.
I mean, you could also do something like that now and see what the effect is currently, because some effect will also be there, because it's always this balance of taking multiple pages that kind of have to rank on their own. You're diluting the value, or you're concentrating that value on a single page.
Yep.
So some effect you might see already. And when we switch that on, you might see, oh, well, overall, there's an even stronger effect now. But I honestly don't know. And I think it's something that probably depends quite a bit on the type of site that it is. So just taking any random 10 pages and putting them together on one page, that's probably a bad idea. But maybe there are certain configurations, like you mentioned, where it could make sense. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Sure.
So there you have it. Straight from Google's mouth. Almost as good as it depends. I would test it. Well, at least it's not a flat out no, and that's not something that I would recommend. It seems to be that there's potential that strategy of consolidating services or information on one page, getting passage indexing to understand the different sections, and consolidating link authority so that page can have very strong rankings. If you're a business and you're interested in doing some of that kind of experimentation, head on over to Burke Digital Factory. We create unique online strategies that work, and we'd be happy to help your business. For now, I'm Darcy Burke. Thanks so much.